You can't make this up. Sensitive government documents were found in an Alaskan hotel after the Trump-Putin summit that's quite revealing. They left it in a printer. I mean, come on. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Aronberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, a.k.a. the Florida LawMan, here on Legal AF. As you can tell by my surroundings, I'm on the road, but the show must go on. I'm actually here in Montana. Hello to all of our viewers in Montana. And let's discuss the remnants of the Trump-Putin summit, which doesn't seem to have amounted to anything except some embarrassment with this document. These papers found in a printer in an Alaskan hotel. I mean, come on. According to NPR, who broke the story, which is, again, why we need National Public Radio, papers with U.S. State Department markings found Friday morning in the business center of an Alaskan hotel revealed previously undisclosed and potentially sensitive details about the August 15th meetings between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir V. Putin in Anchorage. This is just like from a scene from Office Space or something. I mean, except these are sensitive documents that could probably get people killed. I mean, this is really ridiculous that you could leave sensitive documents in a printer after a summit. It just reeks of amateur hour. According to NPR, 8 pages that appeared to have been produced by U.S. staff and left behind accidentally shared precise locations and meeting times of the summit and phone numbers of U.S. government employees. At around 9 a.m. on Friday, 3 guests at Hotel Captain Cook, a 4-star hotel located 20 minutes from the joint base Elmendorf Richardson in Anchorage, where leaders from the U.S. and Russia convened, found the documents left behind in one of the hotel's public printers in the business center. NPR reviewed photos of the documents taken by one of the guests, who NPR agreed not to identify because the guests said they feared retaliation. And here's a picture you can see that they published of at least one part of it, not the entire document, but the first page in the printed packet disclosed a sequence of meetings for August 15th, including the specific names of the rooms inside the base in Anchorage where they would take place. It also revealed that Trump intended to give Putin a ceremonial present. And before you go any further, hit that subscribe button. Yes. Thanks for getting us to the point we are today, where we're producing these videos at a pretty rapid clip here on YouTube. Thank you for your support. Keep it going. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Now let's get back to it. On Saturday, White House Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly dismissed the papers as a multi-page lunch menu and suggested leaving the information on a public printer was not a security breach. U.S. Department of State did not respond to requests for comment. Okay, so it's not a big deal. It's just a lunch menu, right? Not quite. Pages 2 through 5 of the documents list the names and phone numbers of 3 U.S. staff members, as well as the names of 13 U.S. and Russia state leaders. The list provided phonetic pronouncers for all the Russian men expected at the summit, including Mr. President Putin. Pages 6 and 7 of the packet described how lunch at the summit would be served and for whom. A menu included in the documents indicated that the luncheon was to be held in honor of His Excellency Vladimir Putin. We're talking about a war criminal, by the way. We're talking about a war criminal. Someone who intentionally targets civilians in Ukraine because they're losing the war and they need to create more fear in Ukraine. That's Putin. Someone who also meddled in our election. There was no Russia hoax. He meddled in the election. Just ask Secretary of State Marco Rubio. His Senate Intelligence Committee came out with a report that said there was meddling by Russia. I don't want to get too much on a tangent, but when you see Tulsi Gabbard saying, well, there was no effect on the voting machines. Aha, yeah. President Obama said that. There was no effect on the voting machines. The election was fair, but it had Russia meddling. There was Russia who exposed the private emails of the DNC And in that sense, they did meddle. They just did not infiltrate the voting machines. So that's why I say it's a fair election, because the voting machines were unadulterated. They were unaffected, but the Russians got what they wanted. They got their guy elected, and they were able to spread stuff and misinformation through their media outlets. They also were able to hijack the DNC's emails and put that out there to counter the Access Hollywood story. So, just an aside. A seating chart shows that Putin and Trump were supposed to sit across from each other during the luncheon. Trump would be flanked by 6 officials, and they go into it. So these are some of the details in these documents. And they even interviewed John Michaels, a professor of law at UCLA who lectures about national security, who said the documents found in the printer of the Alaska hotels reveal a lapse in professional judgment in preparation for a high-stakes meeting. It strikes me as further evidence of the sloppiness and the incompetence of the administration, said Michaels. You just don't leave things in printers. It's that simple. I mean, it's hard to even justify that this stuff was left in a printer. I mean, you would hope that maybe some heads would roll from this. Probably not. The printed papers are the latest example of a series of security breaches by officials of the Trump administration. Earlier this week, members of a law enforcement group chat that included members of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, added a random person to a conversation about an ongoing search for a convicted attempted murderer. In March, U.S. national security leaders accidentally included a journalist in a group chat about impending military strikes in Yemen. And yet, there has been no sanctions on anyone who was part of that, except you had the national security advisor who was forced to leave his job, but not necessarily because of that, because he wasn't MAGA enough. And so when you're talking about someone who was suspended, expelled, punished in some way for this huge security lapse, no. In fact, they just denied there was anything there. No, not a big deal. And Trump-friendly media rallied around the Trump administration, saying that's not a big deal. Of course, Hillary's emails, still talking about that today. So this is what's going on. I mean, you still have high-level discussions, and you still have security lapses, and you still have people who are not being held accountable for it. And that's the latest from Alaska. By the way, that hotel, Captain Cook Hotel, I stayed there many years ago. It was actually very nice. And I wouldn't think to leave anything in the printer. And if I did, I think probably I'd get a stern talking to by my parents at the time. This was years ago when I stayed there, when I was just a teenager. But apparently, who are the grown-ups left in the administration? I mean, don't do you? But apparently, there was no grown-up to give even a low-level worker who did this a slap on the wrist. Maybe it was a high-level worker. But right now, there's no evidence there's any repercussions from leaving sensitive documents in a hotel printer. That's the latest here at Legal AF. I'm Dave Aronberg, a.k.a. the Florida LawMan. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, leave a comment below. Again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time.
Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.